I've spent years of my life trying to build the perfect desk setup, but there's always been a type of setup that I could never pull off.
Minimalist.
And if that's your style, that's awesome, but I'm kind of the opposite. My workspace is usually cluttered with strange gadgets and accessories, but I'm not one to back down from a challenge, and I decided it was time to give this minimal concept a shot. And after a few months of planning and assembling, I've created a desk setup that looks clean and arguably minimal, but is also loaded with powerful tech hiding in plain sight. And it may just be the best overall desk setup that I've ever built. So on today's episode of Work From Hype, I'll give you guys a tour of my brand new minimal-ish desk setup. Before we dive into the new desk, let me tell you a bit about the room around it. In this corner, I was going for a cozy vibe, and behind the desk, I mounted these 3D tiles that add some natural warmth to this corner of the room. That theme continues with these hanging bamboo lanterns. I've got Philips Hue bulbs inside the lanterns, which have a candlelight mode, which makes the lanterns flicker with a soft, warm glow, and it's a nice effect. Another recent update is actually to my office door, which is right next to the desk. I got tired of seeing these bright white rectangles in the background of all of my YouTube videos, but instead of paint, I installed a grid of fabric tiles. And to be honest, I was not super confident in my plan as the tiles were going up, but now that it's finished, I really like how it turned out. The doors blend in better with the rest of the office, and the fabric tiles actually add some soundproofing, which my family upstairs greatly appreciates. Now we move to the main event, the new desk. I originally had a small table in this corner, and I've upgraded to a massive L-shaped desk with tons of extra space for activities, which is why I was happy to partner with Vernal, the sponsor of this video, and provided me with this desk, which has completely transformed this corner of the office. This is a Vernal standing desk, and it's the nicest desk in my home office, and it's not even close. This model is their executive desk in an L-shaped configuration. It's incredibly sturdy and looks and feels like a traditional stationary desk. In my opinion, it doesn't even look like a standing desk at first glance, but it absolutely is. And even at full height, the desk is rock solid and doesn't wobble back and forth, which is an issue that I've had with standing desks in the past. Vernal lets you customize your desk to fit your needs with their setup in one system. For my desk, I went with Vernal's CPU holder, which has allowed me to finally get my PC out of hiding and on display, and it moves up and down with the desk. On top, I've added the Vernal V-Series desk shelf, which not only serves as a great spot for my desk gadgets, but it also has a slide-out drawer for extra storage. I've also added the Vernal file cabinet, which adds some useful storage to my workspace, and the materials match the desk perfectly. Right now, Vernal is running a massive sale for Black Friday with discounts up to 50% off, and if you use my code, you can get an extra discount on top of that. So head over to vernal.com to learn more, and thanks to the team at Vernal for sponsoring this video. Now let's cover all of the tech in this setup. Powering this desk setup is a gaming desktop from MSI. I'll put the specs on screen in case you're curious, but it gets the job done for both gaming and productivity. Now let's talk monitors. And yes, there are multiple monitors at this desk, and I'm sure most of you have already spotted my second screen. The objective for this desk was immersion, which means getting into a flow state when I'm working throughout the day and getting immersed in my favorite games at night. And so my main monitor is once again the 42-inch LG OLED. Now let's talk about my second monitor, which is hiding in plain sight. This is a 32-inch Samsung Frame TV, and it's one of my favorite additions to this desk setup. For this new space, I wanted to keep it clean and minimal, and so I had the idea to add a second monitor not to the desk, but to my wall. I have this white gallery wall full of artwork next to the desk, and I chose the Frame TV because it blends in with the artwork around it. And here's how I use it on an average day in my office. In the morning when I start my day, the frame is in art mode, and over the course of the day, it will cycle through some of my favorite pieces of digital artwork. As the day progresses and work picks up, I'll disable art mode and switch the input on the Frame TV to my PC. In PC mode, the frame functions like any vertical monitor. While I'm working, I'll put up a calendar or a to-do list using a full-screen browser window. Right now, I'm just using the iCloud web interface, so when I add a reminder on my iPhone, it automatically shows up on the frame, but overall, this this display has proven to be quite useful. It's great for days when I'm moving all around the office and working on videos. I can always look over and see a running list of my tasks, and when I'm done for the day, I just hit one button on the remote and the frame goes back into art mode. And later in the evening, if I'm just relaxing at my desk, I'll run Spotify in full screen mode on the Frame TV, which adds some nice album artwork to my wall and is just another example of how I use the frame as a sort of passive display. Now that we've covered the displays, let's talk sound. I wanted my audio at the immersive desk to sound as good as the OLED monitor looks, and I started with a new set of speakers. These are the JBL Stage 240 bookshelf speakers, which come in this latte color scheme. The white paint and natural wood finish match the rest of this setup perfectly, and I can't decide if I like them more with the covers on or off. More importantly, they sound amazing. The JBLs are passive speakers, and so I needed a way to power them and get them connected to my PC. Under my desk shelf, I've got this little cubby of audio gear. On the left is my new DAC. This is the FiO K11, and it connects to my PC via USB and converts the audio signal from digital to analog. I like that this unit has a display on the front, which tells me the bitrate and the volume level coming from my PC. Next to the DAC is my new amplifier. This is the BT28 amplifier by Fosi Audio, and it takes the analog signal from my DAC and, well, amplifies it before sending it to my speakers. And finally, on the far right of this little cubby is the PC Panel Mini, which at this point is in the Work from Hype Hall of Fame because it's been in my rotation for years. But if you've never seen it before, each of these knobs control the volume of a different app on my PC. And yes, it was incredibly satisfying when I realized that all of my gear fit perfectly under the desk shelf. Moving down to the peripherals for this setup, it's a mix of old and new. My current keyboard is the 8BitDo Retro Keyboard Model M Edition. Earlier this year, I assembled an entire desk setup with 90s inspired tech, and though I've swapped out many of those components, the keyboard has stuck around because I love the design of this keyboard and the key switches are great for gaming and productivity. The mouse, however, is brand new. This is the G Pro Superlight 2 by Logitech, and yes, it's a gaming mouse, and it's ridiculously light in my hands, by far the lightest mouse that I've ever tested. The form factor of this mouse is comfortable enough for all-day use. It's obviously not the best mouse for multitasking, and yes, at my video editing setup, I'm still rocking an MX Master mouse, but for the mix of writing and gaming that I do here at the immersive desk, it's been a great addition. And on the far side of my desk mat is a project that I'm currently working on. This is a Steam Deck Plus in a custom 3D printed enclosure, which I'd love to tell you more about, but I'm currently working on an in-depth video on how I use this device, so stay tuned. Rounding out the setup are a few additional pieces of tech you may recognize. On the far side of my desk is the Quest 3S, and if you missed it, I recently spent 30 days working in mixed reality wearing this headset, and during that project, I needed to keep the Quest close by. So I 3D printed this dock to store my headset, and of course, it's white to match the rest of this setup. Moving to the corner of my L-shaped desk is a 7-inch Google Home display, which is basically just a clock at this point, or on rare occasions I will use it to check my video doorbell for Amazon packages, but it's mostly just a clock. That said, I do like that this display has a built-in controller for smart lights, which is important because this desk is absolutely loaded with RGB lighting. I've got a total of 8 fixtures from Philips Hue integrated into this desk setup, which is absolutely overkill, but I'm in too deep at this point, and I really like how the lighting can completely change the vibe of this space. I have 3 play bars mounted behind the monitor. There's a gradient light strip which runs along the backside of the entire desk. I've even added a bit of underglow. Basically, I took all of my Hue lights from around the house and stuffed them into a single setup, and now I can have any vibe I want. And that's my new immersive desk setup. It may not be the most minimalist setup on YouTube, but it works perfectly in my office, and I'm enjoying my time at this desk. As always, my name is Nick Mo. Thank you so much for watching and supporting Work from Hype, and I will catch you all in the next one.